Welcome back to the Motorcycle Shed YouTube channel. Now today's task is we're going to fit these babies, which is a set of Wunderlich engine bars, and we're going to fit them to a BMW 2019 R1250RT. And to do this you are going to need various tools. You'll need a T50, a T45 and a T25. You'll also need a torque wrench. Now the bolts are done up to around 50 Newton meters, which is in Imperial is about 40 pounds foot. And you'll also need a bit of grease, so that this is supplied with the Wunderlich kit, and also some thread lock as well. I'm going to use a Bond lock, but this is supplied with the Wunderlich kit, this tube of thread lock here. The bolt kit is comprehensive with all the spacers, and the kit also comes with reasonably comprehensive instructions. Right, well, let's get started and remove this bottom plastic piece of fairing first. There's three T25s here, which is this one, that one, and there's one just down here. So next we're going to remove the painted white outer fairing at the front. Now this is, to be honest with you, quite tricky to do. It would be very easy to crack this. So let's have a look at it. So there's a T25 there, just about see that. There's another one there, hopefully we can just about see that as well. And there's also two press studs in here. There's one about here and one about here, and these are moulded into the plastic outer there, and they're held by frame held rubber bungs. There's also a piece of Velcro up there. Let's get these two T25s out. This should now gently pull off, and it's worth just holding it at the top and pulling out the press studs. There we go, and then the Velcro separates, and just pull that off like that. And finally the mid fairing, and there's 6 bolts here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So let's start with these. So that should now just gently pull off. There we go. That's the bits of plastic off, and incidentally that is the fuel tank. This merely is a decorative cover for it, but the actual fuel tank is black plastic container here. Now the Wunderlich kit provides all the necessary mounting bolts for the engine bars. So let's have a look at taking the existing ones out, and I can show you which ones will be replaced with the Wunderlich versions. This BMW R1250RT boxer engine actually forms part of the frame, and it is vital that when fitting these Wunderlich engine bars that you do one side completely and then the other. And the reason is you have to undo these bolts and discard them, and if you undo both sets before you put the engine bars on, the engine will move, and it's going to be very hard to get it back into position into the frame. So do one side and then the other. The next step in the process is to remove the 2 bottom engine mounting bolts here. I've already partially done this one, so let's do this one. There we go. And those will now just gently unscrew. There we go. Now these are not used again because Wunderlich have supplied their own ones that are slightly longer than the originals to accommodate the shape of the engine bar, so we can put those aside. And I guess if you wanted to sell the bike eventually and sell your engine bars separately, if you keep these bolts, you can then just do this in reverse and put the originals back together, so it's definitely worth keeping them. So that's the rear mounting bolts removed. Now the front one, which is here, doesn't have anything into it to start with, so Wunderlich have provided a bolt that will go in there. So that's the front bottom mounting point, and the front top mounting point is also just here. Now then, also if you've got the original BMW fitted fog lamps, that is also the mounting point for the fog lamps. I'm just offering up the engine bar here to show the order of the spacer, the washer and the bolt needs to go. Just a little bit of medium strength Loctite on the thread here on both of the rear bottom mounting bolts. Give it a good load of turns with your fingers, just to make sure you're not cross threading it. That's absolutely vital. We do not want to cross thread this engine casing. That's good, that's all good. So that's the bottom rear one done. So once again, a little bit of medium strength Loctite on that thread. There we go. And the spacer goes between the bar and the frame, so I'm going to get right in the way here, of course. I just do. Okay, gently finger tight that up. There we go, that's great. You support the engine bar as well, just to make sure it's easy to screw this in by hand. There we go. I can almost do that all the way up actually, so that's good. That's great. And we'll do the same with these as well. So let's just leave them slightly loose, get some play on it. Right, that's how it should look, and this is the bottom rear mounting bracket when it is done up. Now you'll need to do these up to 40 pounds-foot, or that's 50 Newton meters, and make sure they are done up, because as I say, this engine is part of the engine frame. So that's the rear mounting, and that's the front mounting. You can just about see the spacer there. And there is the upper front mounting, and it goes on the inner side of the frame tab there. It's worth noting, if you've got BMW original fitment fog lamps, that the fog lamp mounting brackets don't go back in the same place from where you unbolted them, because that is occupied, if you can just see, by the engine bar front mounting upper point. So Wunderlich have got on their engine bars a new mounting point for it. So they are slightly lower and sort of further out front than they would have been under the original fitment, but they do fit. Let's refit the fog lamp. We'll have a bit of medium strength thread lock on this. I don't want to fly off down the M1. I'll just fit that. So we'll just cable tie this to the mounting bracket. We can get on and put the plastics back now. So first one is this. Clip that in. There we go. Rests like that. Right, so this is the inner side of the front fairing, and you'll note the press studs here and here, and also these lips up here, and of course the Velcro. So the press studs are here and here. If you just come around here, you can see just on the leading edge of this section here, where those hooks go into on the panel. Right, so starting with these, those go in here. Just make sure that fits snugly like that, and you'll find that the press studs will just press in. There you go, like that. There you go. And the only thing you need to do now is refit the two T25s in the leading edge under here. And almost the longest part of the whole gig is taking the plastic off and putting it back on again. There we go. This BMW R1250RT, well, it's covered in plastic. And it's covered in plastic for a good reason. It is a superb continental and motorway tourer. It's absolutely brilliant. It is undoubtedly a bit of a pain taking the plastic off, but if you get it off in the right order and you get it off in the right way, and remember, most importantly, where the bolts go and the order that the bolts go in. So write it on a piece of paper or put them out in order from front to back or left to right or however you want to do it, but remember where they go, because they are subtly different, these. If you remember all of that, then it's actually relatively easy once you get the hang of it. But this bike, well, what can I say? It's I bought it so I could ride up and down the motorway to Scotland, up and down the M1 in February in the pouring rain, and keep warm. The heating on the bike is absolutely superb. Keep out the wind, well, that's what the big fairing all the plastic's for, and the superb adjustable windscreen. It's a really great touring bike, and I could thoroughly recommend, if anybody wants to have that ultimate touring experience, then this is the bike to buy. And I think now we fitted the engine bars as well. Protect those cylinders. I mean, it's not that heavy, I don't think. Once you're actually on the thing, I don't think it's that heavy really. But if you put your foot down in soft ground or something like that, then it would go over. And really, I think just dropping it gently on its side, it would be a shame to mark the cylinders or cylinder heads, or even damage the cylinder head covers. So these engine bars, I think, are a worthwhile investment.